Hey, what's up, guys? My name is Alan Garza. I'm the creator and founder of Mind&SoulMusic. Mind&SoulMusic is an indie music label based out of San Antonio. I personally was born and raised here in San Antonio myself. And if we go back all the way to when we first started learning about music and putting projects out, I probably go back about 20, 22 years, starting back in high school. We want to get too in depth with my personal background and history. I'd rather kind of get to y'all's questions so we can make sure we're answering everything you had. I'd like to thank David, Mr. David, and of course Jennifer for asking me to come and speak to y'all. I apologize that I wasn't able to make it in person. Tuesdays and Thursdays during the evening are a little rough for me, so I really wanted to kind of go in there and just speak to y'all and just share information or whatever experience I have with you all. I believe I was in y'all's position at one point. Not necessarily going through music school, but I did get a degree in a general studies degree that required me to do complete three minors, which was business, writing, and mass communications. And for my capstone class, I had to intertwine all three of those minors with a project. And that project at that time was a marketing plan for my best friend who I went to high school with and who it all started in high school. So by the time I was graduating college, I was doing my capstone project as a marketing plan for my friend's music career. And so that's how I kind of first got started. Everything's super homegrown, just trial and error. 20 years of investing, 20 years of time, energy. And as you go through the process, you learn that there's nothing more valuable than experience. Okay. So no matter what I tell you, no matter what the books tell you, you're going to have to go through certain experiences to understand and know what's going on. So first thing first, just be patient with yourself and be patient with your process and your vision, right? Along the way, you don't want to lose track of who you are and what your intentions were from the get-go. That's number one thing of being an artist and trying to run a business. So let me just jump into the questions. That way we can get through that, and I think I'll be able to explain more. So the first question I got here is, what characteristics do labels look for in a new artist before negotiating a deal, and why are those characteristics important? So I think depending on the label, depending on what genre music you're in, that's going to tell you a lot of what the label is going to be looking for, right? If you have hardcore rock, or you have hip hop, or you have classical music type of labels, everyone's gonna be looking for something different. And I think that's the beautiful thing about music and creation, is that there's so much types of music, so much art out there that everyone, I believe, can find their niche if you just stay true to yourself. So as far as what kind of characteristics, I think number one thing across the board, no matter what genre or label you're with, work ethic. Having that drive, the work ethic, positive attitudes, and being open to being coached, right? If you're gonna go in there with the mindset of, oh, I know what I'm doing, I know what I am, I know how to do this, and this is how I want it, in the beginning, things might not go too smooth because maybe you don't quite have the experience or quite know what the outside perspective looks of you or thinks of you. And so along the way, you're gonna have people that make suggestions. And so being open to coaching and having this just an outright work ethic that no one is going to outwork you, right? No matter what you do, you have to have a work ethic that just is going to push your boat. It's going to sail your boat, right? And so besides that, just being a good person and and having the knowledge and the experience of what it really takes, right, to make a good song, to make good music, right? And not just have talent, but also have the IQ on how to record and how to perform and how to carry an audience, right? So There's a lot of things there, but ultimately, more than anything, being able to be coachable, to let somebody coach you and show you the game, and then to work your butt off. Two main things, I believe. Next question. Which comes first on your journey to a label? Should we do first an LLC or a publisher or a pro? I'm sorry, I'm not sure what the pro is. I should probably know. Like I mentioned, I didn't go through business music school. I went through the Hard Knocks University. I always say that. I got a bachelor's and master's at the School of Hard Knocks. Okay, 20 years of just trial and error, learning ourselves how to run our own business and figure it out. But I would say an LLC might not be so important right off the bat. The publishing is probably more important, making sure that whatever product or whatever you're putting out there is going to be licensed and registered the right way. That's probably more important than the LLC. But once you start getting ready to do business, right, and have real money transactions, the LLC will come into play, right? And you will need that. But starting off at first, you can almost treat yourself like independent contractor, right? Me as myself, I can run my own business under my social security number and just label everything to me personally. But once you start getting people involved, employees involved, and just a little bit more legit business, the LLC is definitely important. But before even the publishing, I would say just start your brand. Figure out a brand, register that. That's the right way to do things. Register your brand, register your ideas, and build off of that. You can go through your when you're building your brand, there's a possibility that you're going to go 2 or 3 different transitions of finding the brand that you're really going to stick with, right? And so just work on your brand. Your brand is not just a visual, but your culture to who you are, and how you do things. So let me just keep going through these questions, guys. We got a lot. Is it legal or possible to own a record label and sign yourself as an artist? And if you were to give you your step-by-step guide process and how to succeed as an artist or obtain, own, and maintain a record label, what would it be? So yes, I truly believe that yes, there is. It's very possible to create your own label and sign yourself as an artist, right? And so within the publishing world, you have publishing rights that go to the label, that go to the writers, that go to the artist, the recording artist, and also go to a performing artist. So there's different publishing distributions that different publishing payouts that are distributed to different people, your labels, and then your artists, right? And so technically, you can start your company, whatever the company name is going to be, and then create yourself as an artist, and you link them too. And you're going to hit the label publishing and the artist publishing. So it is for sure possible. It's very smart. It's a little difficult to do it all yourself, but it is definitely possible. And you can figure it out. I'm not saying it's not possible. What does a normal work day look like, and how stressful is it to own a record label? Was your main goal always to own a record label? How did you achieve it through who you knew? How did you achieve it through who you knew and networking, or pure hard work and perseverance? Yeah, so I definitely would say the pure hard work and perseverance is probably really what has got me to this point, to have the experience and knowledge. And sometimes I'll be honest, there's still a lot of stuff that I don't know, on the high scale of things, the corporate things, right? Behind the doors of Spotify's, behind the doors of the YouTubes, right? They're the ones that control the market. They're the ones that rig the market. I like to say that the industry is rigged. We're finding that out more than ever today. That major platforms, the ones that control the listeners and the viewers, they have control of the market, and they do whatever they want, and everyone has to move with it. But I think now more than ever, it is super important that we do support the indie artists, that we do support the small businesses, right? And because of what's happened in the industry, I believe there's a big surge of indie artists that are truly finding their community, their fan engagement community, and able to create a living off of that. And ultimately, that's the dream. If you can find a way through all the resources, through all the possible ways of creating revenue for yourself through your art, that's you're living the dream. You don't have to have millions of streams and likes. You don't have to be all over the radio and TV. If you're making a living off of your craft and your business, you are a complete success. Okay? Just don't let no one else tell you nothing else. Let me just make sure I'm recording and the mic's still going good. All right, we're about 11 minutes in, guys. So let me hurry up because we're going through this a little slow here. Talk about a time when you were really struggling, if you can, to the point where you wanted to stop pursuing this career. How did you put aside the mental stuff and have the ability to keep pulling forward? All right, so going into the music label, starting it, and my experience of going through high school with my best friend, who was my first artist on my label, going through college, trying to push him. I knew by the time, like after college, like this stuff takes money. This stuff takes money. And it's going to take a lot of money from you and a lot of time, which is also money. And so I knew graduating college, getting my first job out of college, wanting to pursue the dream and wanting to have time for the dream, I knew that I was going to have to create a little bit more income than just a regular, normal, 9 to 5 salary job weekly. And so I put my mindset of how am I going to create more income? My mindset turned into a business mindset. Boom. How am I going to create more income to where I can support my family, take care of the business that I'm running, be able to pay my bills, and then have that little extra money to invest in the dream? That was my journey. And so I went and created other sources of revenue that can help me, like I mentioned, take care of my family, pay my bills, and still have this money to invest. There's a lot of challenges, right? Throughout this process, if you're working with other artists and you're trying to collaborate with the artists and you're trying to push them and they don't quite have the work ethic, or they don't see what you see, or they don't match your energy, right? Match your work ethic. It's going to be hard. Things move slow. Money is going to be very difficult to be able to operate. If you don't have a good budget to operate, it's going to be hard to do anything. Okay. So I would suggest you guys think about other sources of income. Think multiple sources of income. How am I going to generate different revenue, cash flow to be able to sustain this dream as you try to get it going? Like I mentioned, my best friend that I started the business with, or the label with, like he had unfortunately a very crazy situation where he got muscular dystrophy. He couldn't walk. He got discouraged. We had some issues. Long story, but ultimately, we had to kind of, not in an ugly way, but because of his situation, what's going on, he kind of got discouraged and he didn't want to keep going. So, I invested so much money, so much time, gave it everything I had. And to me, I felt like he kind of course, his situation is different, but it all of a sudden stopped, right? And that is very, very normal in the music industry, where artists are going with the label, and all of a sudden something happens and stops. So y'all have to be very, very careful, very aware of the possibility of, losing in an investment, right? And so ultimately you have to think down deep, like, what are you doing this for? why are you in this, right? Is it to be popular? Is it to try to be cool? Or is it to try to make money? Or is it because you love the music, you love the art, you want to create, you're a creator? And so if it's one of those reasons where you're a creator and you do it for the love and for the art, you can get through anything. You can persevere the challenges. If you're going into it with like, oh, I'm gonna make a business, I want to be popular, blah blah blah, you're gonna get discouraged and you're gonna break down, and that's where those mental games come in. Because your expectations are, oh, I want to have all this money, I want to be popular, blah blah blah, and it quite didn't work out like that. So then now your mind starts playing with you and you start doubting yourself. So I advise that you focus on you being who you truly are, believing in yourself, like ultimately there's knowing that nothing's gonna stop me from being the artist that I'm supposed to be, or being the business person that I'm supposed to be, or having the impact on somebody's life like you're meant to have, right? And so if you know deep down inside that this is for you and this is what you want to do, and you know for sure, go for it. But I would also advise, like I said, don't just do that. Create other sources of income, other opportunities, so you can not feel the pain of a starving artist, which is very likely. Who should a producer, beatmaker reach out to in order to get a sync placement or work in sync for commercials, TV? Who exactly can I talk to get a hold of the commercial break? So there's a whole bunch of third-party platform outlets that if you go searching, there's a couple called Taxis, something, I don't know. You got to get out there. You got to do your research, synchronizing, publishing companies, right? Find who those companies are, find, research how to get that on there, and then try to build a relationship. One big key thing in all this success is building relationships with people that are in position to help. Of course, they get hit up all the time. They get hit up all the time by all these artists, but it's just a part of it. And without forcing it, without being overwhelming, be persistent and trust timing. Trust your timing, trust the timing when you're going to meet people. And just believe, I mean, just look for those people. Look, you got to have to get out there and network a little bit. So find the people that are helping, syncing companies, contact people, get a hold of them, submit your stuff to them, follow up with the email, follow up with the phone call. Hey, I submitted my stuff. At the end of the day, you got to have quality music too. You got to have what they're looking for. So it all comes down to the music as well. What sparked interest for you to get into this business? Yeah, so never in my dreams that I think I'd be running a music label. But like I mentioned, in high school and college, I was there pushing my best friend. He was there rapping all awesome. I was slinging mixtapes all through high school. And in college, I had my window open at Texas State. I was at Texas State over at Butler Hall. Boom, boom, boom. I had posters, jamming the music out, not knowing what the heck I'm doing. 18, 9 years old, 19 years old, just jamming for my boy, promoting them, slanging, pushing, promoting them and all that good stuff. And then little by little, I started realizing, like, hold on, what I'm doing is almost like a music label. So then I started thinking, well, dang, let me start building a label. And so little by little, I came together with Mind&SoulMusic, and yeah, so it was just an organic way of getting here, and I don't know, interesting. I like these questions. They make me think about where I'm at. In your years of experience, what has been the biggest change you have noticed, good or bad? The biggest change, of course, was going to be the transition to everything digital. So when I was in college, we were still pushing CDs. And so, and DVDs and stuff. Like, yeah, the CDs and the DVD mixtapes, and you were pushing music videos. And so that, right when I was switching over out of college, my business plan included the digital transformation. So it's amazing. But the biggest change for sure is how music distributed. And the worst part about it, the bad thing about it, is the companies like Spotify's and YouTube's, Spotify more than anything, how they take your music, distribute it, and just keep all the money. Like, they don't distribute out to people the right way. And that's in a super unfortunate way, because they don't allow us to make a living. You have to really, really put in a lot of work to create that community, right? If you want to make a living off of this, I would say you need at least 1,000 people, true loyal people that are going to be buying your mixtape, buying your music, buying your shirts, buying your merch, doing all this stuff, the whole package. We haven't even talked about the full package you need as an artist, right? It's not just recording. It's not just, it's the performing. It's the marketing, the engagement, how to speak to people, how to interact. So there's still a lot in depth and going on. I'm just answering the questions that y'all are asking. But yes, let's see here. That Spotify deal is horrible. So to me, that's the worst thing I've seen. Have you ever worked with someone that went well beyond what you expected them to do in this business? I can't say I have. I can't say that I've come across where, like, wow, they just took it over. I have talented artists. I have 2 artists now that I'm focused on. And you have their seasons where, they go through personal stuff. So you got a good project, you got a nice album, you got a marketing plan ready to go, boom, 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 you're pushing. And some things don't go quite like you planned. And then they lose gas. The artists lose gas, they lose motivation, and then boom, you're going back down. Key thing to this is just stay consistent. When you start, stay consistent with releases, promoting, bringing awareness to your music. Even if you drop a project and it's 2 or 3 years old, there's millions of people out there that have never heard your project. Keep pushing your music like no one's ever heard it. Just stop pushing it to the same people. Find ways to push it to a new person every day. New market, a new place, a new area, a new city, a new algorithm. Find ways to reach different markets. Yeah, so going back to, if I've ever someone that reached my expectation, I tell you, it's hard for me to find somebody to beat my expectation, because I set myself by pride on being the hardest worker and outworking everybody. Maybe sometimes it might not happen, but my intentions are to outwork everybody. And so when artists come, I like to do a 50-50 deal. Me as an indie small label, them as an artist, we go 50-50. I invest money, time, thought, energy, resources. The artist has to record good music, be able to perform well, promote, market, create content. We'll create content as well. And we push each other and we split everything 50-50. It's just fair. And sometimes that 50-50 is not met. And for me to have to do more than my 50, if I have to do more than my 50%, then something's wrong there. That means the artist is not holding up their end of the bargain, and maybe they're not made for this. It's a lot harder than you think, guys. I'm not trying to discourage you. Realistically, this is a tough business. Create that extra sources of income, I'm telling you. Pursue your dreams. Have you ever worked with somebody? What is a common mistake a new artist tends to make when starting out? A common mistake is dropping 2 or 3 songs with all this hype, with all this money. You put all this money into marketing, and then you don't have a project to follow up, or you don't have a music video to follow up after a release. You need, I would say, 2 to 3 albums, 8 singles, knowing in your head that you're going to get ready to drop. You probably don't have to get it all ready at once, but as you're dropping one or two, you already know, okay, this third one, we got to get the cover ready, boom, boom, ready to release. Fourth one, get it ready to release. You got to have a game plan of how your release is going to go. If you drop one song, invest all your marbles, all your money into one song, and you build all this hype, but then you don't have more projects after that, whew, it's like for nothing. You better have a game plan. You better have a lot of work before you release it. If there was one thing in your field that you could change, what would it be and why? If there's something I can change, I would create the equal opportunity for artists to be heard. Like, of course, music has to be filtered between quality, right, and just bad music. But like once it reaches a certain like cutoff, like, and it's so hard to get over a certain threshold to where your music's gonna be spread, right? But if I could change something, I would like help change people's perspective on an indie music or indie artist, where it's just because some artist is local, oh, it's like, oh, they're just local, they're just trying to, make it, but not realizing like you probably have one of the most talented artists in the world right here in front of you, but because they don't have a million followers and a million likes, you don't appreciate the artist. And so I wish the artist appreciation in our city was a little different. And I think that's what my event that I'm having, which I'm going to tell you about, is about, right? We want to bring attention. We want to bring a spotlight. We want to bring appreciation to our artists. And so if that's one thing I would change, man, just let's appreciate our artists a little more. What knowledge would you recommend a beginning artist to have before contacting your office? Well, you have to have a full package. Like, you got to be prepared to bring your 50% to the table. A lot of labels, I don't quite do it. A lot of labels out there, they make the artist do a lot of the work. The artist still got to do a lot of work. It's not like you sign to a label and then we do everything for you. It's more about us using our resources, any power, any investing, any money to help you. But you as an artist, you got to come with product. You got to have projects ready to go. You got to have an idea of what direction you want to go. You got to know who you are and what you represent. And you got to be business minded. Don't go to a label. Don't go to a potential partner as just an artist. Go in there prepared as if you were a business. Treat yourself like a business. And with that, you're going to have to work your butt off like it's your business. And if you're not working your butt off, and if you're not fully investing and preparing and educating yourself, then more than likely you might not get that deal. You might not get that partnership. And I think this is the last one. With new technology advances, they are starting to become more pronounced. What direction do you see the music business going in the future? So right now, music recording and music is going to go through this stage and era of AI. Everything digital. It's so easy to make beats. It's so easy to make stuff. Cool. I think that's going to run its course. Everyone's going to jump on that wagon. But I think eventually the true organic human touch of a human creating the music is where the true authenticity, true art, everlasting music is going to be more real, right? This music stuff, like, people fake it. You go fake music, you fake creating it, you create something that you think a certain people want to hear, or because you think that, but is it really true? Like, you got to have soul. You got to have the spirit in the music. And if you're missing that, people are going to smell it, people are going to feel it, and you know, that's gonna leave you high and dry. So no matter what you do it like with soul. Have that soul in you, right? So, anyways, I think that was the last question. Sorry if I took it on. Real quick before I go, like I mentioned, Mind and Soul Music is my indie label. I created an event series called Art and Hip Hop, in which um, we're trying to capture the history of our hip hop culture. I hope to do this for other genres in the future, but because I'm so close to the hip hop culture, it makes sense that I focus on hip hop first. And so what we're doing is having local paint artists, right? Local paint artists. There's different artists here. Local paint artists create paintings in feature of some of our most influential hip hop artists and creators. Not just artists, you got producers, videographers, promoters. And so on April 12th, we're going to have our second edition where we'll be unveiling the next set of paintings. We have painters, some of our best, most famous artists in the city, creating 13 paintings, and we'll unveil one by one for the people that we're recognizing. This is a part of our first edition that we had, and then now we're going to continue it. So ultimately, at the end of our efforts, we'll have a time capsule exhibition museum that's going to capture and tell the history of our culture. So I invite y'all to please come join us. I'll offer to Mr. David and Jennifer that if any kids, any of y'all, excuse me, not kids, students, are interested in potentially attending, and we might even open up the door to volunteering to help us for the event. You can come get some firsthand experience of what it is to run an event, to have performing artists, to have presentation, to play the music. Because remember, it's not just about music, recording and performing. Like what it takes to put the stage together, what it takes to put the sound system together, the videography. So I'm going to talk to Mr. David. I will open up and invite if we have any volunteers that would like to get involved with us and help us. Please have Mr. David reach out to us. And then secondly, if you want to just attend the event and come on, we'll definitely give y'all some passes, some discount passes, depending on how many. We'd love to have y'all. Just let us know if you're interested. And this will be at San Antonio downtown at Southtown at AV Expression. This is an art gallery warehouse that we've been here for about 8 to 10 years now. And we welcome you. We wish you good luck. And we hope the best for y'all. Thank you.